Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Easy English Boost. Have you ever needed help finding a place, asking a question, or requesting someone's assistance in English? Imagine you're at a restaurant, in a store, at the airport, or even at work. How do you ask for help politely and confidently? In today's lesson, we're going to learn useful English expressions that native speakers use every day. We'll learn how to ask for help politely, how to make requests using common expressions, how to ask different types of questions, important question words like what, where, when, why, how, and how often, and we'll practice with real-life conversations that you can use in everyday situations. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to ask for help naturally, make polite requests, and communicate with confidence in English. Why is asking for help important? Every day, we need help from other people. We may need directions, information, assistance while shopping, or help at work and school. Knowing how to ask for help politely makes communication easier and more effective. Let's learn some simple and useful expressions that you can use in real-life situations. Let's start with can. We use can to ask someone to do something or to ask for permission. For example, can you help me? Can you open the door? Can you pass me the pen? Here's a short conversation. Emma, can you help me with this box? John, sure. Emma, thank you. Now let's learn how to ask for permission using can. We use can I when we want permission to do something. For example, can I sit here? Can I use your phone? Can I open the window? Can I borrow your pen? Here's a short conversation. Emma, can I sit here? John, of course. Emma, thank you. Now let's learn could. Could is more polite than can. We often use it when speaking to strangers, in formal situations, or when making polite requests. We can use could you to ask someone for help, could I to ask for permission. Let's look at some examples of could. Could you help me? Could you bring me the menu? Could I use your phone? Could I ask you a question? Could I use your computer? Could I leave early today? Here's a short conversation. Customer, could you bring me the bill, please? Waiter, certainly. Customer, thank you. Now let's learn would. We use would to make polite requests. It sounds more formal and respectful. The structure is would you plus verb plus please. For example, would you explain this question, please? Would you wait for me for a moment? Would you close the gate, please? Would you send me the details? Here's a short conversation. Emma, would you help me carry these books? David, certainly. Emma, thank you. Another polite way to ask for help is would you mind? We use would you mind plus verb plus ing. For example, would you mind opening the window? Would you mind helping me with this form? Would you mind taking a picture for us? Would you mind speaking a little slower? Remember, after would you mind, always use the verb in its ing form. For example, the sentences, would you mind helping me? And would you mind waiting here? Are correct because the verbs helping and waiting end in ing. However, the sentences, would you mind help me? And would you mind wait here? Are incorrect because the verbs help and wait are not in the ing form. We can also use would you mind if to ask for permission in a very polite way. The structure is would you mind if plus subject plus past tense. For example, would you mind if I rescheduled our 1 p.m. call to tomorrow? Would you mind if I left a few minutes early today? Remember, after would you mind if, we usually use the past tense verb. Correct examples include the sentences, would you mind if I left early? And would you mind if I used your phone? While incorrect examples are, would you mind if I leave early? And would you mind if I use your phone? Using would you mind if makes your request sound polite, respectful, and professional. When someone asks, would you mind? You can either accept or politely refuse the request. Positive responses. These responses mean, yes, I'd be happy to help. Not at all? Of course not. I'd be happy to. Certainly, no problem. Negative responses. These responses politely explain why you cannot help. I'm sorry, but I'm tied up at the moment. I'm afraid I don't have time right now. Sorry, I'm working on another deadline. I'm sorry, but I'm busy at the moment. I'd love to help, but I have another task to finish. If you want to say yes when someone asks for help or permission, you can use these expressions. Sure. Of course. Certainly. No problem. No worries. Go ahead. Straight away. I'd be happy to. These replies sound friendly, polite, and helpful. Let's look at some positive replies. If someone asks, "Can I use this chair?" you can reply, "Sure," or "Of course." If someone asks, "Could you help me?" you can reply, "Certainly," or "No problem." Here's a short conversation. Emma, can you help me? John, of course. Now let's learn how to say no politely. When you refuse a request, it's a good idea to give a reason. This helps you sound polite and respectful. You can use expressions like, "Sorry," "I'm sorry, but," "I'd prefer not to," "I'm afraid I can't." For example, if someone asks, "Can I open the window?" you can say, "I'm sorry, but I'm cold," or "I'd prefer it closed." If someone asks, "Can we sit here?" you can say, "Sorry, this seat is taken," or "I'm sorry, someone is sitting here." Remember, adding a reason makes your response sound more polite. Let's learn an important speaking tip. When you ask someone to do something, always try to use the word please. It makes your request sound polite. For example, "Can you help me, please?" "Could you open the door, please?" Avoid saying things like, "Open the door," "Help me." These sentences may sound rude because they are direct commands. Remember, adding please is a simple way to make your English more polite. Now, let's learn the phrase excuse me. We use excuse me before asking a stranger a question or when we need someone's attention politely. For example, "Excuse me, what time is it?" "Excuse me, where is the bus station?" "Excuse me, where is the bank?" Here's a short conversation. Tourist, "Excuse me, where is the station?" Local, "It's around the corner." Now let's learn how to ask for directions when you are lost. Our first pattern is, "Excuse me, do you know?" Use this pattern when you want to ask about a place. For example, "Excuse me, do you know Green Park?" "Excuse me, do you know Central Mall?" Here's a short conversation. Tourist, "Excuse me, do you know the city library?" Local, "Yes, it's near the park." Let's look at another useful pattern. "Excuse me, I'm looking for." Use this pattern when you are trying to find a place or a person. For example, "Excuse me, I'm looking for the railway station." "Excuse me, I'm looking for Mr. Johnson." Here's a short conversation. Tourist, "Excuse me, I'm looking for Green Street." Local, "Go straight and turn left." Now, let's learn another useful pattern for asking directions. "Excuse me, is there an near here?" Use this pattern when you want to know whether a place is nearby. For example, "Is there a bank near here?" "Is there a supermarket nearby?" "Is there a bank nearby?" "Is there a bank around here?" Here's a short conversation. Tourist, "Is there a pharmacy near here?" Local, "Yes, just across the road." Let's learn another useful pattern. Do you know where is? Use this pattern when you want to ask for the location of a place or a person. For example, "Do you know where the library is?" "Do you know where Mr. Johnson is?" Here's a short conversation. Tourist, "Do you know where the hospital is?" Local, "Yes, it's behind the shopping mall." Let's learn another useful pattern. Do you know where I can find? Use this pattern when you are looking for a place, a service, or a person. For example, Do you know where I can find a taxi? Do you know where I can find Mr. Johnson? Here's a short conversation. Visitor. Do you know where I can find the manager? Employee. Yes, she's in her office. Let's learn one more useful pattern. Do you know if there is a nearby? Use this pattern when you want to know whether a place exists nearby. For example, do you know if there is a bank near here? Do you know if there is a hotel nearby? Here's a short conversation. Do you know if there is a bank near here? Local? Yes, there's one next to the supermarket. Let's look at some common question words. First, we have what. We use what to ask about things or information. For example, what is your name? What type of music do you like? Next, we have which. We use which when choosing between two or more options. For example, which movie do you want to watch? Next, we have when. We use when to ask about time. For example, when is your birthday? When does the movie start? Now, let's look at why. We use why to ask for a reason. For example, why are you late? Why are you happy? Now, let's look at where. We use where to ask about places or locations. For example, where do you live? Where are you going? Next, we have who. We use who to ask about people. For example, who is your teacher? Who is she? Next, we have how. We use how to ask about a method, a way, or a manner of doing something. For example, how do you spell your name? How do you cook rice? Now let's look at how long. We use how long to ask about duration or length of time. For example, how long is the movie? How long have you lived here? Finally, we have how often. We use how often to ask about frequency or how many times something happens. For example, how often do you exercise? How often do you watch TV? Common answers include every day, once a week, twice a month, 3 times a week. Now, let's practice with some real-life conversations. In this first conversation, a passenger is asking for directions at a train station. Passenger, excuse me, do you know where platform 3 is? Station staff, yes, go straight and turn left. Passenger, thank you. Station staff, you're welcome. Let's look at another example. Here, a tourist is asking for directions. Tourist, excuse me, could you help me? Local resident, certainly. Do you know where the train station is? Local resident, yes, go straight for 2 blocks and turn right. Tourist, thank you very much. Let's look at another real-life conversation. In this situation, Emma needs help with a report at work. Emma, excuse me, could you help me with this report? Daniel, sure. What do you need help with? Emma, I'm having trouble understanding these sales figures. Daniel, no problem. Let me explain them to you. Emma, thank you very much. Daniel, you're welcome. Let's look at another real-life conversation. In this situation, a customer is speaking to a waiter at a restaurant. Customer, excuse me, could I have the menu, please? Waiter, certainly, here you are. Customer, thank you. Could you also recommend a popular dish? Waiter, our grilled chicken is very popular. Great, I'll try that. Let's look at one more real-life conversation. In this situation, Anna is asking for directions. Anna, excuse me, do you know where the city library is? Man, yes, go straight for 2 blocks and turn right. Is it far from here? Man, no, it's only a 5-minute walk. Anna, thank you for your help. Let's look at another real-life conversation. In this situation, a traveler is asking for help at the airport. Traveler, excuse me, could you tell me where gate 12 is? Airport staff, certainly, walk down this hallway and take the escalator. Traveler, thank you. Could you also tell me how long it takes to get there? Airport staff, about 3 minutes. Traveler, thanks for your help. In this situation, Sophia wants to borrow something from her classmate. Sophia, hi Jack, could I borrow your notebook for a moment? Jack, of course. Sophia, thanks, I need to copy today's homework. Jack, no problem. Sophia, I appreciate it. In this situation, Olivia is asking Michael for a favor. Olivia, could you do me a favor? Michael, sure. What is it? Olivia, could you send me the meeting notes? Michael, absolutely. I'll send them right away. Olivia, thanks a lot. Would you mind? In this situation, Grace is asking for help with a presentation. Grace, would you mind reviewing this presentation before the meeting? Noah, not at all. I'll look at it now. Grace, thank you. I'd appreciate your feedback. Noah, happy to help. Would you mind if? In this situation, Lily is asking for permission to leave early. Lily, would you mind if I left a little early today? Manager, no, that's fine. Lily, I have an appointment this afternoon. Manager, no problem. Let's look at two more real-life conversations. At a store. In this situation, a customer is asking for help in a shop. Customer, excuse me, could you help me find the electronics section? Store assistant, certainly, it's on the second floor. Customer, thank you. Is there an elevator nearby? Store assistant, yes, it's right behind you. Thanks for your help. Helping a friend. In this situation, Ethan is asking his friend for help. Ethan, can you give me a hand with these boxes? Ryan, sure. Where do you want to put them? Ethan, in the garage, please. Ryan, okay, let's do it. Ethan, thanks. I couldn't do it alone. Let's quickly revise what we learned today. We learned how to ask for help and make requests politely using can and could. We also learned how to ask permission and speak more politely using would and would you mind. We practiced important phrases like excuse me when talking to strangers. We also learned how to ask for directions using simple patterns, and we studied important question words like what, where, who, when, why, and how. Remember to always use please when making requests to sound polite and friendly. Keep practicing these expressions every day to improve your English speaking confidence. Great job today. If you're still watching and haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button, like, share, and comment. Learning English is easy, fun, and exciting with Easy English Boost.